What's up, guys? Mike here from Ekim Knives, and today I wanted to talk to you about my humble beginnings. Right? A lot of you have asked to see some of my first work, things like where my logo came from, and kind of how I got started. Obviously, I have this nice big shop with all these tools and everything, but where were my beginnings? And I did a video about this way back when I did start. But let's go over it again. Don't mind my finger. I've been working on the pegboard of shame back here, and actually grinding some stuff out. Like this chef is getting worked on today. Back there, I did another one of the 800s got ground today. So I'm making some progress. It's a good thing. I'm starting to get motivated, and maybe it's something to do with the sunshine. Anyway, first things first. Where did I get my logo? And yeah, you're looking at it. Years ago, I went to Mexico, and I went to the Mayan ruins. And in the Mayan ruins, they were selling these. They were hand carving them. As you can see, it's a giant Diablo hand carved deal. You know, very rough work, but something was, I needed to have this, right? So I bought it. I almost missed my trip back. I almost got stranded in Mexico at the ruins. But I grabbed it, ran to the bus, I got on, and just made it, was able to bring it back. And funny story, when I was going through security to come back to New York, TSA kind of stopped my bag, and on the x-ray, all you saw was this, because I took it on my carry-on. And the guy's looking at it like, what the heck? So anyway, that has nothing to do with, obviously it looks like the devil. I'm not a devil worshipy guy or any of that stuff. I don't do the whatever, the voodoo or this or that, the other thing. That's not it. So why they make these, and I got this one, and I also got, it's a puma, cougar, whatever the, scary cat is, jaguar, I guess, I don't know, whatever's down there. They used to take these, the ancient Mayans, and they were masks back then. So they would put the mask on, and it was to mock the invaders. It was to say, this is you guys are the devil, right? So they would put this on to mock them. So it stood for mockery and defiance, and that kind of, that's kind of my my personal traits are, I don't handle authority very well, and I'm a little defiant. I know I'm such a bad tough guy in here, right? But anyway, I just really like the story behind it, and I love the way this thing looks. So I literally took a picture of it and sent it out to a graphics guy, and he made the logo, and that's where the Diablo logo came from. My very first one that I successfully completed. Now, keep in mind this is successfully completed. There were many attempts before this that never got completed. They never made it. I must have ground probably 10 that never got handles put on them because they were just screwed up before I could even get to the handle part. So this is the first 100% completed knife. And that's this guy right here. I really like the sweeping belly design, and I drew this out, and as you can see, it's got almost like a very thin chef knife type handle. I tried to put a lanyard hole on it, but I didn't really know how to contour and do all that stuff yet. My grinds, the original grind was planned to be down here somewhere, but that certainly did not happen. So the grinds aren't even. This one's skinnier, and this one's a little fatter. This was highly polished. I did this by hand. So this was me. I had it down, and I just sat there and sanded the flats for hours to get that polish out of it. It's about as sharp as a butter knife, because I didn't know how to do that yet, and I was terrified to try and sharpen on a grinder. But not terrible. Really not terrible. Like I said, the 10 that preceded this that never made it to completion were pretty terrible. So, and here's a common thing in knife making. You'll see this with knife number 2. Knife number 2, I made this one on video. This is my very first video. I think it's still on the channel. I was trying to win a grinder from Medford Knife and Tool. And yeah, to do some kind of creative submission. So I said, you know what? I really like this knife making stuff. I made one. I can make another one. So I rushed it and I did it on camera, my very first video. And I put it to music and all that cool stuff. But this is what it came out with. It looks so much cooler on paper, but now it kind of looks like a little chef knife. And it's 1084 and I haven't taken care of it, so it's starting to patina and rust. Very rough flats. Uneven plunge. Again, about as sharp as a butter knife. And the same thing with the handle. The handle, it looks good on the sides because that's where I can get to. But the choil, I was doing it all by hand then. So it's got some rough marks in there. It's just rough overall. You can see under here. That'll show up. Right there is all wavy. So, I mean, I could pick these apart now because, yeah, I've got some experience now. But I still feel that this one is better than my second one. I got excited, said, hey, I could do this. I got this all day long. I got this all figured out, right? No, that's not how it works. A lot of you guys that are just starting out know that knife making is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? I know some of you can agree with me. Okay, moving on to my third knife. And at this point, I had realized that my handles were too thin. Right, and in between these two, I think I tried to grind one more. I didn't make it to handles. Now, keep in mind that this was the best of my ability too. So you didn't even get to see the ones that went in the trash can, which was a lot. I could fill. I think Steve Miller, Knife and Tool, said he's got a 5-gallon bucket full of fails. I think I could have filled the same 5-gallon bucket. So okay, next one. And my skills are improving just a little bit. So I figured out the handle. The dimension is much thicker, much more comfortable. Super thick knife. I think this was 3/16. My first harpoon, my first, I don't know if you can call that a swedge, but I kind of cheated and I put it on the work rest. So it's a 45-degree angle swedge that isn't centered. But not bad. I was really, really proud of this one when I made it, because it didn't have that many glaring defects. I mean, I still got the plunge is a little screwy, and yeah, I mean the grinds. Yeah, it's not really even. It's close. It's closer, but it's not really that even. I spent a lot of time, and now keep in mind, like I said, guys, this was all done by hand. So I knew what I wanted, I couldn't figure out how to execute on it. So I wanted this flush spine, which I know a lot of people, like when they first start, they overlook little details like that. So, but I would sit there and hand sand for hours and hours and hours. And guys, if you get frustrated, sometimes it's nice to take it back to the basics and hand sand. I sent somebody an email today saying, you know, maybe that's what you should do because they were getting frustrated. Is to go back to the basics. Hand sand. And for me, it's kind of therapeutic because I can't really screw up hand sanding too bad. I'm confident that I can do it right. And it's just hours and hours of slow progress, slow work. So it's not like you're going to slip on the grinder and the work's gone. It's just you're making progress. It's just one stroke at a time. Okay, so that's that one, the harpoon, and none of these ever had names. I'd never named any of them. The last one had a name, and it never made it to production. So, again, that was this one. This was micarta. Oh, and this is the first and last time I ever worked micarta, by the way. I hate it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I worked it one more time. But, yeah, I hate micarta. I like how it works, I just don't like working with it. At least when I was new. Then I figured, alright, I need some guidance. I want to keep up this trend. So I signed up for Sugar Creek Forge's friction folder build-along. And this was my very first friction folder. And this is where I learned to do it. Now, as you can see, there's a common theme here going. Is I knew I could get this with hand sanding. I couldn't get this finish off a belt. So from here, I said, well, I did it on this one. I'm going to do the whole blade mirrored like this. truth of the matter is, I tried to leave a satin finish, but I screwed up the grind. So, back to hand sanding I went. And this one works functionally because of Tim Troyer's direction. So, that's why I recommend his build-along series so often, because it really did help me in the beginning. Of course, it's starting to rust because I really got to take care of it. And I haven't. I just threw them in a closet and that was it. And it was the first time I touched them in a year. But this is the knife that my agitators are based off of. So this transformed into this. You see? So you got to start somewhere, guys, right? So, and of course, this one has uneven plunge. I mean, I could really pick these apart all day long. Uneven grinds. There's stuff like this would not leave my shop today. Okay, I know this is getting a little long, so I'm going to move it along. And this is the last two. After this, I think after I made about 10 knives, I think I sold my first knife. And I wasn't ready to sell it, but I sold it anyway because the guy pretty much begged me. But that'll be another video. This is what I called the SS. Right? There was two designs. I designed this one, and my girlfriend designed this one. And the idea of this one, if you remember the TDI style knife, so it was like a pistol grip handle. So it was one of those weapon retention type deals, a self-defense tool, or basically a get-off-me blade. But all you had to do was rip it out of the sheath and punch with it, and you were going to have blade exposed to hit your attacker and get them off of you. I really liked the concept, so I made these knives, and I think I sold one. And I have about 5 more fails on the wall. These two were the prototypes. I think these are out of D2, the first time I started working stainless steel. Oh no, this one's out of 1084. This one might be D2. Anyway, as you can see, again, very rough. It's too easy in knife making to get excited and look past the little details. So, remember that flush spine I was showing you on this one? The really nice satin, it's all clean and everything? You get excited about a new design, a new detail or whatever, and you forget some of the basics. So this spine, it's probably not going to show up on camera, but especially right up here, it's really rough. You know, so same with this one. This one's got needs some loving too, and I started making my handles too thin, but I wanted it pocket friendly, and I was just all over the map. So I went from hunter to whatever this thing is, to pocket knife, to self-defense tools, and I didn't know where I was going. I was experimenting and learning. Now, most of you guys know that aside from the knives I produced, every one of these were produced on a bench with 3 tools on it. Right? That's all I had. So I had the one bench my grinder's on now back there. I made that out of 2x4s because I couldn't afford to buy one. And I had a 2x42 grinder, a vise, a drill press, and oh no, I had the buffer too. So four tools. That's all I had. I heat treated in a charcoal forge for all the 1084 steel, and that was it. Everything else was sandpaper and files, and I got it done. You know, I like to think that some of my first knives came out pretty good, and you know, I'm not that embarrassed to show them because I took the time and did what I could to make it right. I had the vision. It's just the putting it to practice that was really hard, right? And of course, if I have pictures and stuff, guys, I'll pop them in and show you exactly what I was working with back then. Now, this comes up a lot, and some people get frustrated and they say, does it get easier? You know, you've improved so much, and you make stuff like this now, and does it get easier? And honestly, the answer is no, it doesn't. I remember I used to ride mountain bikes, and I used to race them for a little while. back in my skinny days. Right? And I remember my first ride with a really fast guy, and I asked him, I'm huffing and puffing, I'm dying, right? I just want to stop. And I says, does this get any easier? He says, no, it doesn't get any easier, you just get faster. It's the same thing with knife making. It doesn't get any easier, you just make cooler stuff, right? You go from this to something like this with the same amount of frustration. All right, I don't know. I haven't hit that easy hump yet. I'm hoping to get there one day, but I guess when you stop evolving, it starts getting boring. So I certainly don't want that. So I guess that's it, guys. So that's my start. Oh, before I go, I want to throw this out there. There's a couple of knife makers that I want you guys to check out. One of them is before I say these. I know there are a lot of makers out there that follow me and check out my stuff, and a lot of you guys have sent me pictures and everything. Thank you so much for that. It really makes my day to know that I was inspiring to you somehow. Sorry, I keep seeing a shadow go by the window. I'm distracted. Whew. Anyway, so you guys have sent me some really cool stuff, and thank you for telling me you got inspired by watching me. You know, that really means a lot. But there are some guys out there, and of course I can't mention everybody, but two in particular that go unnoticed, that do fantastic work, and I don't understand why they don't have a much larger following. I'm going to put their links down below for you guys to check out. Number one is Steve Miller Knife and Tool. Right? Steve's a great guy. He has a YouTube channel, and I'm mentioning the guys that have YouTube channels, so you guys can, go check them out and see what's going on over there. Steve Miller has a YouTube channel. He does tutorials, and he makes some killer hunters and fixed blades. So you definitely got to go check him out. He makes some really cool stuff. Really nice guy. So I'll put his link down below so you can check him out. And the other one is Eric Luther. He makes some awesome knives as well. He has certainly surpassed me in as far as what he can make. He's now making folding locking cleavers. He calls it the Orphan, which looks awesome. And he also has a YouTube channel. So I want you guys to go check out those underrated knife makers and give them some support. Tell them I sent you. But alright guys, that's about it for this one. I'll wrap it up. And I guess I'll catch you on the next video. This is Mike here from Ekim Knives.